Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're exploring a critical shift in higher education strategy regarding generative AI. Instead of focusing solely on what this technology might replace, we are going to examine how universities can strategically expand their academic and institutional capacity, all while preserving the essential role of human judgment. We have to begin with a highly legitimate concern: replacement anxiety. Across institutions everywhere, faculty and leadership understandably worry that generative AI might act primarily as a labor replacement mechanism. There is real apprehension that it will diminish the value of teaching, scholarly writing, and professional academic judgment. And these fears, they are entirely valid, particularly given the rapid pace of technological change we are seeing. However, replacement anxiety alone simply isn't a sufficient framework for guiding long-term institutional strategy. We need to pivot from this anxiety to a more productive perspective. The central strategic question university leadership must address is really this: what academic and institutional capacities can actually be expanded when generative AI is integrated responsibly? Making this shift requires an entirely new paradigm. We must move away from framing generative AI simply as a labor replacement mechanism designed to automate jobs. Instead, a responsible higher education strategy frames it as a capacity expansion environment. The overarching goal is to strengthen what universities are already able to do when human expertise is supported by appropriate tools, rather than replacing the instructor's fundamental role. So, let's examine how this builds capacity right in the classroom. AI genuinely expands an educator's ability to design and adapt learning effectively. Generative AI can assist faculty in creating alternative explanations, formulating formative questions, and drafting rubrics or differentiated learning resources. Crucially, this does not replace the teacher. It expands their pedagogical capacity to better support student learning. In STEM education, this expansion is particularly critical. Students often require multiple pathways to truly grasp complex concepts. Generative AI can provide supplementary support, like step-by-step explanations, visual representations, mathematical clarifications, and even foundational code review. The academic value here is that it provides a safe environment for technical exploration, but it remains highly dependent on careful faculty design and rigorous disciplinary standards. Of course, capacity expansion also requires reimagining assessment by making the learning process entirely visible. Instead of relying exclusively on final products, universities must design tasks that incorporate process documentation, staged submissions, annotated code, and technical walkthroughs. These methods strengthen assessment validity and help students learn to properly justify and defend their own reasoning. This distinction is equally vital in research. Generative AI offers significant capabilities, such as literature mapping, data exploration, and coding assistance. However, these forms of assistance must remain entirely subordinate to human responsibility. The human researcher is strictly responsible for verifying outputs, evaluating sources, making scholarly claims, and protecting research integrity at every single step. Looking at the macro level, institutional capacity can also be significantly expanded. Generative AI can support comprehensive goals like faculty development, curriculum renewal, and quality assurance. Yet it is absolutely crucial to recognize that while these tools can assist in organizing knowledge and drafting guidance, they cannot define academic priorities. Institutional judgment and governance simply cannot be outsourced to a machine. Crucially, capacity expansion requires strict conditions to be successful. Without clear governance, rigorous verification practices, comprehensive faculty development, and updated academic integrity policies, capacity expansion risks degrading into uncontrolled automation that produces unreliable outputs. Disciplinary alignment is absolutely essential to ensure these tools strengthen rather than weaken actual learning. This brings us to a primary institutional duty: preparing our graduates. In STEM fields specifically, students will enter professional environments heavily shaped by AI-supported modeling, coding, and data analysis. Universities must not prepare students merely to avoid AI. We must prepare them to work responsibly, critically, and transparently within these AI-augmented technical environments. Ultimately, generative AI does not reduce the need for human judgment. It actually increases it. Because AI-supported work must be meticulously interpreted, checked, contextualized, and defended, rigorous human expertise is more vital now than ever before. Therefore, the fundamental principle is this: responsible AI assimilation must strictly preserve the human foundations of higher education. Expertise, ethical judgment, disciplinary rigor, and professional accountability are the core elements that only education can cultivate.
The true goal is to use technology to deliberately strengthen these foundations.
For academic leaders, strategists, and policymakers looking to explore these institutional transformation models further, the concepts discussed today are detailed in Assimilating Generative AI in STEM Higher Education by Dr. Yaron Ghilay. As we conclude, consider this final thought. How will your institution ensure that the integration of artificial intelligence actively strengthens human expertise, rather than simply replacing it? Thank you for joining this explainer.